Hi everyone, and again, happy International Women's Day. I've got another, special guest here, Natalia Venditto from Microsoft. I'm gonna let her introduce herself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jen. I'm very happy to be here celebrating Women's Day. Like you said, I am right now working with Microsoft. I'm part of the developer division, and I have a very interesting role. I think for the front end community, which I've been part of for a very long time. I think I've been doing front end development for maybe more than a decade.
Mhm.
So this is like kind of what I feel is the peak right now of my career, leading JavaScript and Node.js on Azure. And from a developer experience perspective, from an end-to-end experience perspective. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, and you joined, quite recently, right? So what are the? I mean, what made you, make the jump? Basically, what things did you see that's very positive, and that you were excited about in terms of like joining a new company?
I have to say that I'm one of those people that always said, "Yeah, I would love to work at Microsoft." That was one of my goals, but I wasn't looking for it. I was at the time I joined Microsoft. I was actually working as a solutions architect with MongoDB, which is another amazing company,
Yep.
and yeah, the opportunity just presented, and I went for it, and here I am. Right, I think this is part of or something that we maybe want to expose. There are times when women think, that role may be too much for me, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to, to do it right, and we just need to try, right? Because life can surprise us. And yeah, I went for the process, and it was for me. It was really for me. Somebody told me that role is really for you, and they were right.
Yeah,
you
and
know
if you don't, go for it and at least apply, then you wouldn't know, right?
yeah, exactly. Sometimes we don't even apply because we shy away from these kind of big gigs, just because of maybe pressure, maybe how we see ourselves. I read a lot about how women perceive themselves, when it comes to a role. They have to, when they read the requirements, we feel that we have to meet every single one of
Every
the
single,
requirements. Yeah, otherwise we are not
yep,
fit for it. But it's not like that. You just have to try, because it's, technical skills and a lot of the experience, uh, even if you're not there. And this is in the form of advice for younger women, for more junior software engineers, that can be acquired, right? But what really matters is the personality, the character, the wish to learn, and the wish to improve, and the passion you put to it. So yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so what projects are like in the pipeline, for you? And then, so that you've just joined recently. But what's and you're talking about, the front end like ecosystem. So what's upcoming and what's going to be exciting for the community in the next few months or years, even if you're actually allowed to talk about it.
Well, like I said, I am very busy making sure that end-to-end experiences for front-end developers on Azure are delightful. That's the word. Like, they feel they have everything they need to start working, and to achieve things, to get their job done, basically. And this is why this role required somebody who had a very long experience working with JavaScript and working with the ecosystem, and working with the community as well, because a great part of my job is gathering feedback, is talking to other developers, is knowing what problems they have, so we can solve them. That's ultimately the goal of my role right now.
And yeah, you're perfectly like positioned in terms of you being able to do that because you're very active in the community. You're part of say other developer programs, right? In other companies, not necessarily just Microsoft. And obviously Microsoft has got their own programs and with regards to engaging with developers. So yeah, so it's good because as you said, being involved in the community is very important. If you really want to find out what people think about certain products or certain whatever platforms, then yes, definitely you need to
Absolutely.
community.
Absolutely. Yeah, I started doing public speaking, I think, well, back in 2014, actually,
Mhm.
um, but more intensively, and I think internationally in 2018. And then I joined the Google Developer Expert Program in 2020.
Mhm.
I was awarded Microsoft Most Valuable Professional Award last year as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And all those programs, what did were actually to bring me closer to the community, to amplify my voice. And yes, and absolutely, I am very convinced that communities are essential to software development, particularly web development. And that's been one of my goals also, to make sure that women are part of those communities in an active way, right? That we contribute to open source, that we do public speaking, that we publish content, that we are heard, and that we have a place, or we
Voice.
actually have the place, that we have a voice, right? That's right. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So, talking about public speaking, you said you started back in 2014, correct? So, do you have any tips, for women in tech who are new to tech, maybe, and want to also, apply to speak at like smaller events or even conferences, right? So, what would be the like the first few steps you think that they should look into?
I think one very important thing to remember always is that no matter what we're going to speak about, because sometimes we think everybody knows everything about that topic. That's never true. Like, what we are going to tell is always from our perspective. And what I always suggest is that new speakers try to think about a story, like they try to connect to the audience through a real life experience, because that's in the end all it is about, experiences. Like, I right now work making sure that developer experiences are great, but in the end we are all trying to get a better experience out of our work, out of our job. And so the way you may have solved the problem may be very inspiring to others, even more senior people, because there's always a new perspective, like, to things that you want to hear from other people, right? So never think that what you have to say is not interesting. There's always going to be people interested in what the experience of others is, and that's what you have to go out there and tell: how you solve the problem, how you learned the technology, how you implemented something new, what ideas you have. Everybody wants to hear from other people. We are social, uh, yeah, social beings that want to connect and want to learn from others. So I think that's the most important part. And then having fun, because it
Yeah,
shouldn't be, and I think for many that's not true, but it shouldn't be a job. It shouldn't feel like something like you shouldn't feel pressure about it. It has to be something that you do and you are having fun at it. And then you're going to enjoy it so much, everybody's going to notice and love it. So that's my advice.
those are very good points. Like remembering that yes, you can be bringing in a different perspective into something that might be something that's like already popular, known, but bringing your own perspective obviously is like, it's a unique thing because it's your, from your own experiences. And yes,
Exactly.
having fun while doing it obviously is very important. Yeah, those are very, very good points. Okay.
And
So,
also one more important thing is that everybody gets nervous, and I've been doing this for ever right now, but I still get very nervous when I go on stage, like
yeah,
not the days before, not the hours before, but like the 5 minutes before are
yeah,
like always the most critical ones. And then you are on stage, and yes, it's that try to build that connection with the audience, and you'll feel their energy. They always want you to succeed. And
yeah,
so yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And at the end of the day, if it's like a 30-minute talk, that 30 minutes will go very, very quickly, actually.
definitely.
So yeah, there is always an end to that thing. So even if you're feeling nervous in the beginning, you know that, oh, at some point this I'm gonna be done with it. Then I can relax. I can enjoy, the rest of the event or the rest of the conference. So that's how I kind of sometimes look at things when I'm gonna speak. Because yeah, you're right. Even people who have done a lot of talks before, they still get nervous. At some point. But it gets
Absolutely.
easier, obviously. Like we all started from a point where we're not very confident in terms of like public speaking. And yeah,
Absolutely.
it,
I
it
see pictures. I see pictures of earlier conferences where I'm like, really, like I don't even know how to say it, but carling onto
oh, yeah,
myself.
like a
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. I'm trying to hide.
Mm,
And now I see recent pictures, and I'm like, I always tell, particularly women and people from minorities, like you have to, take your place, stand for yourself,
yeah,
and
claim your
the
place or something. Yeah,
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 exactly. You have to really, it went away from my mind, but you have to really make your presence be felt by the audience. And that's a lot of, body language. It's a lot of, it takes practice as well, but after a while you can achieve it. Everybody can. Everybody can do a good job.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So maybe we can talk about your like typical day. In your role, what usually goes on in your day? Do you wanna maybe talk about that a little bit?
Well, so I think I'm so appreciative of what my work is like because I love it. I really love what I do. And yeah, it's Microsoft is a very, very flexible kind of place to work at because at least myself, I work remotely fully. So I don't have a schedule. And most of my team works in the US, right? So
You're in Spain, correct? Yeah, am I right? You're in Spain. Which part of
yeah,
Spain are you
I'm
at?
In Barcelona.
Barcelona. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so basically my mornings are very quiet. I just I do some family stuff, and then I get to work. I read my emails, I have my coffee, I relax. I usually have a virtual coffee with one of my colleagues
Mm-hmm.
from the developer advocacy team. We chat about what are our goals together, and what are our strategies. And then usually what I do is I build a lot. Like recently, I built a lot of stuff on Azure because I am new to Azure as well. Um, and so I want to know what the experience is. I capture that. I start thinking and designing what the strategies are going to look like to improve what needs to be improved, to make even better what is already great. And this is basically part of my day or all of my day.
Yeah.
And then yes, obviously I have meetings with people. Yeah, that's true for everyone, especially now in COVID and pandemic times when everyone is remote or most people are remote. Yeah, that's also part of our day.
Yeah. So talking about that, is there any news whether Microsoft's gonna ask employees to go back to the office like full time now? Because I think I heard some companies recently. I believe Google said that they're gonna be bringing back their employees to in person? Sorry, to be reporting back to work in person. I'm not sure if I heard that
I
right.
wouldn't be able to tell you because being my contract is remote. So for me, it's not something that I'm like.
Oh, got it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Microsoft is such a huge company, right? They have
Mm,
like thousands of employees, and I wouldn't be able to tell what the conditions are for everyone. I think it may change. I don't know. I really couldn't answer that question. I know for me, I am lucky because this is what I want, right? Because
yeah.
some other people would like to go to the office, and I have many friends that are really really missing the office experience.
Interaction.
Um, I have a family, and for me, it works better to stay at home. And yeah, that's what my job is like.
Yeah.
I work from home.
Yeah, I think remote work is really ideal, especially for people with families and kids.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess for some people, for example, people who are single and who are not interacting much at home because there's no one to interact with, maybe just a pet, or
Yeah.
then obviously it's a different need for them. So yeah, it's horses for courses, as we say here in the UK. Okay. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
else we can cover? Anything else about Microsoft Azure or the team that you want to talk about? Anything else about career that you want to?
Yeah, well, my team is great. I am really happy working with people that are so concerned and are so passionate about developer experience. I mean, I can't be happier, to be honest, because at the end of, I'm not going to say it's the end of my career, but like I said before, I feel like I'm at the peak of my career at the moment. And when you have been working as a developer all your life, having the opportunity to make or to work in developer experience, in developer tooling, and earning money out of that, it's amazing. It's really great.
Yeah.
I'm ecstatic about it.
And I think developer experience, as a role, is something that's kind of new. I don't think that was like a formal, title or role in the past, right? But nowadays there's a lot of focus on that as well to make it easier for developers, to be developing in, I guess, lesser time and with a better experience. For
Yeah.
for those who are not familiar exactly with what people in the developer experience team, does, do you want to maybe just describe that in more detail, share some more insight into that?
Well, basically, what we do is we design and work together with engineering teams in implementing whatever developer tools, whatever developer capabilities are necessary to guarantee a great experience at the time of using a service or a product. In this case, or in my case, Azure, but Azure
Mhm.
has many products and services, and we can mention a few like app services or static web apps or container apps. And all those services have a Node.js and JavaScript segment, and this is what I am concerned with.
Focus on.
So
Okay.
let's imagine we go to app service and we want to deploy a Node.js application. So I do it in different ways with different kind of applications and capacities and requirements, and then I evaluate what may be necessary for the experience to get even better than it is right now, and that usually results in a VS Code extension or a new capability in the CLI or maybe new documentation around a certain topic. And then I collaborate with the engineering teams, with the developer advocacy teams, and yeah, and we work to materialize that into a strategy
Yeah,
to
that's very interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. So you're obviously still you know doing a lot. Does that involve a lot of coding still, or just more experimentation and trying out the products?
Um, I still do a lot of coding because I am part of several open source communities, but
But for your role,
as part of my role, I do coding, but it's not like production code, right? I am not worried that my code is going to be great because it's not going to go to production. It's not going to
yeah,
be final in any way. It's not going
yeah,
to be integrated. But I do a lot of coding to make sure that I can, for example, integrate with another service or connect to an API, and yeah, that
yeah.
requires that you code in the end.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
I guess it's more testing, as I said, the testing, experimentation, and all that.
exactly, exactly.
I guess,
Prototyping
yeah, prototype.
more.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's very interesting. And at least you don't have to what do you call this necessarily just forget about all these years of experience that you
exactly.
got from like developing apps or platforms or systems. So yeah, so it's good that it's still something that's going to be very useful in in your current role.
Yeah, not only forget, but also gives me the opportunity uh, to learn new things,
You think?
right?
Yeah,
Because this is a job where you always have to keep up with new developments on the API side, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah.
if you are not in shape, let's say, you are not going to
Appreciate.
be
Yeah.
able to.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, so are there like programs from Microsoft that you want to talk about, especially programs that are focused more on diversity or inclusion, or any other projects, that the or platforms, or processes
Well,
you want to talk about that might be
yeah.
useful for our our viewers to know about.
Well, Microsoft is really a company that is very concerned with diversity, and it's one of the reasons why I joined, because I have to. Yes, I admit I had the privilege of, making a decision on top of that as well. Not everybody has that opportunity, and that's a reality. We cannot all go and say like, oh, I'm not going to take a job because X and Y. But at a certain point in your career, you can do that, and it's a privilege. And it was for me a privilege to research and see that Microsoft really cares about diversity. And in fact, I was commenting with you earlier, the leadership of the organization I work at, the developer division, there are many, many, many women, and they are like leaders, real leaders, driving technology forward and to the next, yeah, to the next versions of it. So I'm super happy about that as well.
So do you want to highlight those two women leaders you were talking about earlier?
Yes, definitely. They are Mandy Wally, Amanda Silver, and Julia Luison. Yeah,
Okay,
they're the basically the core, the leadership of developer division. It's filled with women to
that's good.
celebrate.
I'm really happy to hear that, because obviously that's not the typical picture, right? And I'm glad things are changing. The more leaders we have there, the more we can inspire, like younger women, and kind of show that yes, you can actually achieve these things as well. Look at this role models that you can look up to, and aspire to. So that's really great.
Absolutely. There's nothing women and other minorities that people in general cannot do because of their gender or whatever other part of their identity.
Yeah,
And we have to celebrate that, really, and we have
yeah.
to inspire others to continue to strive for, accomplishing whatever they want to accomplish and following their dreams, and yeah, and
Yeah, it's definitely needed. especially in certain ecosystems, like the JavaScript ecosystem. Obviously, is like highly, highly, highly male dominated. If we just get at conversations on Twitter, so that's actually one thing I actually want to see change as well, because on Twitter, for example, right, you can see interactions, and most of the time is the you know men, sorry, we call it men developers. So it's mostly men like conversing with each other and exchanging thoughts. I mean, I do see some women participating as well, but it would be good to see more women, interacting in these conversations. Or I hope that even in, if they don't want to do it publicly, at least in their local or whatever groups or ecosystem they're part of that are more private, that they're interacting. Yeah,
And this is why it's so important to provide those spaces, or to make sure those places exist, where women feel safe and they feel that they can express whatever opinions they have, because sometimes it's very difficult to express your technical, particularly technical opinion on things, on non-women dominated spaces. But yes, I think we're much better right now than we were 10 or 15
yeah,
or 20 years ago.
yeah. And this is why sometimes there really is a need to provide an environment where it's all women. I know some people are not keen on that, but sometimes you really need to provide a safe space where women feel that they can express themselves without judgment. So yeah,
Absolutely.
psychological safe spaces like that are important.
I usually, what I do is, I yeah, I have many friends that are men, that are developers, that are well consolidated senior, like part of core, I don't know,
Courtney.
core
Yeah.
teams or frameworks, whatever.
Hmm.
What I do is I bring those issues to their attention whenever there is a discussion that is very, like, only men are participating of it, um, so they can invite, like actively invite women to talk and give their opinion. That's so
Sure.
important.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. Because otherwise,
yeah,
things are not going to change if we don't actively, do those things where we definitely try and engage, more women in the conversation. So yeah,
absolutely.
that's really great to hear. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so thanks, Natalia. It's been really interesting to talk to you about these topics. Is there anything else you want to kind of cover before we wrap up?
No, I think I am just very happy to be here, and that you gave me the opportunity to present what we do at Microsoft, and how women are leading JavaScript at the moment, both the end-to-end experience and also the developer advocacy. When it comes to JavaScript, is led by a woman, Francisca. So that's, I think that's something to celebrate, really, and to be joyful about.
That's really great. Okay, so thank you again, and happy International Women's Day to you. And I hope I'll see you again at future events, and hopefully see you at an in-person event soon. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm really missing all these conferences.
yeah, I hope so too, Jen. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
All right, thank you.